Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 271 of a year of change. Today we're going to sort of do what I intended on doing a couple of Fridays ago. Not really with a documentary. A couple of weeks ago we looked at a documentary about magic pills that the Fifth Estate had done. Just all the sort of the different health supplements and everything else that sort of goes hand in hand with that. And they were showing how it's not always, what you think you're getting. That they're putting in different chemicals. They're saying that this works when it doesn't. They're adding a whole slew of benefits to it that just simply don't exist. And Marketplace, which is another TV show that is sort of a consumer-based program here in Canada, they were doing one in tandem, roughly with the same stuff. But one of the things that they were actually going to touch on were protein supplements. And so I guess there was some information that they found during their investigation that they want to look at a little bit more. So they haven't actually released the show itself, the documentary, but they have still reported on part of it. And they've made a little note saying, we aren't quite finished with this yet. We're going to be releasing it, but it doesn't look like they're going to be releasing it anytime soon. So normally I was going to wait until a Friday to do this, but today is sort of newsworthy stuff. And I still have the story, so we're going to talk about that. Now, the main thing that I wanted to do, or the main reason why I wanted to bring this up, was because with this week, especially where we're looking at protein, a lot of us, for me, I do anyway, when we think of that, we usually think of those protein powders. And because you see them everywhere in GNC and just any health food section, even in regular grocery stores. We're getting pretty close to that now. These huge jugs of protein powder, and people say, well, have a protein shake, and then you do this and this and this. And just to sort of set the stage for this, I'm not talking about people that are actual bodybuilders. All right, people that are taking in 8,000 or 9,000 calories a day, but are also burning 8,000 or 9,000 calories a day. All right, for those people, we're sort of excluding those. What I'm talking about are the people that take this as part of a dietary regimen, and that they say, well, this is where I'm going to get my protein, and they use that as sort of a meal supplement as well. In general, we can sort of talk about it all, but obviously I am not the person to talk about bodybuilding and stuff like that. So it's so far removed from anything I've ever done in my entire life. That's why I'm sort of leaving them out of it. But the show, the Marketplace, the Marketplace show, the show called Marketplace that was going to be doing this story, they were talking about protein shakes or protein supplements in general. Showing how they had been pumped full of fillers and everything else, and that you weren't really getting as much protein as it says that you were. And we saw some of that with the Fifth Estate as well, that they were looking at just the claims that various companies had made about their product, and they were basically calling them on their bullshit and saying, well, this doesn't do this, and this doesn't do that, and this doesn't do this. So I sort of wanted to bring this back just so that it's not left hanging there, and especially where we're looking at protein over the past couple of weeks. This is as good a time as any to do this. So for those of you that are out there that are hitting the gym 5 or 6 hours a day, and you're taking 2 or 3 of these just to help yourself build up your muscles and everything else, we're excluding you from that. There is some evidence that's unnecessary to begin with, but I'll leave that to people who know much more about this than I do. So, and we will get to talking about that as well, just because there are a whole slew of claims that, no particular brand, just the protein people in general, have made, and really dry, yeah, that they've made that just simply are not true. So we'll visit that as well. But I'm also going to try to keep this one fairly short because I've been going really, really long over the past couple of weeks. So I want to try to keep this nice and tight and short and compact and all my information in there. So for starters, I'm going to put the actual story from CBC in the description below so that you can go in, you can take a look at it. I'm also going to put a link to the Mayo Clinic. They are basically just touching on protein in general, but mainly the protein powders like whey proteins and what's the other one? Casein, I guess, which I think is egg-based. And then the whey is, well, they're both dairy-based, I guess. One is milk and one is egg. Not sure how that works, but and they go through all the different claims that they have and say, yes, it has been proven. It has been proven that it is helpful in helping with. It's helpful with helping things. That sounded stupid. It's helpful with allergies. That if you have a milk allergy or an egg allergy or something like that, or if there are other types of allergies that you have, that sometimes you can go for this protein so that you're not going to have, because we did talk about that before as well, that if you do have a food allergy, a lot of them are protein based. So they say it can help sort of offset that depending on the kind that you buy, things like that. But overall, I think that there seems to be a lot of focus on it, and people saying, well, you need to buy the protein powders so that you can have a protein shake early in the morning. And I've seen people at work do this. And these aren't people that are bodybuilders, right? These are people with desk jobs that look like me that are doing this and having that as their meal. And as long as I've been there, they aren't getting, how do I put this? They aren't getting in any better shape. I'll put it that way. But there is that misnomer that, well, this is healthier and, I'm going to be getting my calories and my vitamins and minerals and everything else through there because it's pumped full of stuff. And aside from the claims that they make, the ingredients in it may not be exactly what you think you're getting. So that's really what Marketplace is looking at. Just saying that when you're testing for it, it says, oh, great, you have 30% protein in here or whatever it is. But what they found was that there are some fillers that are in there that come back as proteins when they really aren't. So they've done other tests and they've looked at them, and I don't have any brand names for you, so sorry, and obviously this is not going to be across the board. They say that it's enough to warrant people looking at it and saying, no, you really need to be careful what you're buying. But when they run these other tests, they come back and say, well, it looks like a protein, but it is not a protein, so you're not getting as much is it that you think that you are. And they say that part of that is because, of course, they want to, make more of it. It's like cutting it with cocaine, or cutting it with cocaine. Cutting your protein powder with cocaine, you will have lots of energy, and you'll be able to exercise for much, much longer. So I highly recommend it. No, it's like cutting cocaine with baby powder or baby laxative or icing sugar, whatever you would cut it with. I know, because now it sounds like, he knows. Did I just spit on myself? Nope. Anyway, it's just sort of like cutting anything like that, watering down alcohol at a bar. It's because, it's when they're putting more of a product out, if they can cut back a little bit, throw in some filler, they can sell more of it. It's going to be the exact same price, and some of it is insanely high priced. So, of course, that's the regular business model, that you water things down as much as you can, and to the point when you're like, now we're teetering in a legal gray zone. So we need to make sure that we're still following everything that we're saying and send it out that way. However, a lot of the claims that they have, like muscle gain and weight loss and everything else, a lot of it is, it's really hard to say yes, it works, but it's also hard to say no, it doesn't, because it's like saying, well, if you eat vegetables, then you're going to lose weight. It's not quite that simple. You can eat all vegetables all the time, but if you're eating, say, 3 and 4 avocados a day, and if you're eating, if you're still eating 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day and not moving, even if it's all vegetables, you're still going to put on weight. So there are some things that, actually from the Mayo Clinic, they have an entire list of all the different claims that various protein powders have had over the past few years, and they go down through them one by one, and some of them they say, yes, this definitely works. The allergy thing is one of them. There are others that says it helps cure acne, and they're like, no. There's actually a really good example when it says, well, it can help with acne if you take protein powders. Well, if you're taking the protein powders, you're cutting back on the amount of fat. So I would suspect that if you're cutting back on the amount of fat and sugar and things like that, then yes, it's naturally going to help clear things up that way. But it's not really, again, we've looked at this so many times before. Correlation doesn't mean causation. Just because you find some connection between two things, it doesn't mean, not even a connection. Just because there's I was going to say relation. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just because there's a coincidence between two events does not mean that event A caused event B. There we go. That's a good way to put it. So, anyway, I sort of got off track here. So the description down below is going to be for the Mayo Clinic as well, and there's quite a few pages that you can go through. It goes through just sort of basic background as to different protein powders, things like that. It does go through some of the dangers as well, and it's not the same as saying, well, if you have one, then you'll die. Just things like allergy warnings and, you know, taking too much of it, not getting enough nutrients from everything else. But the main thing that they do sort of touch on with the Marketplace story is that although, yes, you can certainly take them if you feel that's what you need, but in general, I mean, for bodybuilders, again, that's a different story altogether. But for regular folks that are, you know, trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to cut back on the amount of, you know, sugary drinks, and you want to just, in general, increase the amount of protein that you're taking in, but you want to do it in a healthy way, they do say that for the large part, it's unnecessary. If you're eating properly, you're getting your protein from lean meats and you know, vegetables, fruits, and just, well, yeah, fruits had a little bit of protein in it. But if you're getting legumes, there we go, and pulses. The pulses thing, that, like, legumes, you kind of have an idea, there. Pulses, I haven't looked into those. I've seen that term so many times before, and I think that there's pretty much like lentils or something, or that lentils are pulses, and there's like a wider family. I haven't looked into it enough. Anyway, but all the different things that we've looked at, beans, there we go, I'll just say beans. So, you know, soy products and beans and, you know, meat products and things like that, that if you're eating a regular balanced diet, if you're eating healthy foods, you should be able to get as much protein as you need in your diet just from food. You don't need to go and buy the extra stuff and throw it in there. And just like everything else that we've seen over the past few months, anything that says, well, you need to do this so that you can add this into your diet, no, we can probably get that from eating proper foods. Say, well, you take an iron supplement. Well, no, we can get that from green leafy vegetables, and we can get that from meat, and we can get that from a whole slew of different things. Say, well, you need potassium. Well, I can have a banana. It's okay. Not to just sort of badmouth like vitamins and vitamin supplements and things like that. In general, I think it's just something that we don't really need. There are going to be some people that need it. If you actually are iron deficient, no matter what you're doing, then yeah, your doctor's probably going to put you on something. But for the vast majority of us, we don't really need it. If we're eating properly and keeping that wide variety of foods out there, then we're going to be able to get what we need from it. And they do touch on that as well, and just say that the hype that goes out there with whey protein, and, you know, they all have the same name. Dude, there's always something like testosterone fueled or something, and, like, you know, rippy muscle, man, I don't know the names of any of them. These are horrible brand names. Muscle ripper and face smasher, and I'm gonna kill you because I'm working out and I'm so angry. All these different names, though, and they're all really sort of geared towards the bodybuilding. What would you say? I don't want to say stereotype. Oh, stereotype is a stereotype. So there you go. But they all have these same, like, big, manly, butch, homoerotic names. So all these different products that are just sort of the big hype that's come from them, they're pushing them out there and saying, no, you need to have this, and this is going to give you more protein than this, and this is going to, you know, help you build muscles and things like that. For the vast majority of us, we don't need it. We get the right amount of protein that we need from eating properly. And obviously, if we're eating nothing but, you know, nachos and pizza, like I was, then no, you aren't obviously going to get what you need, except from the toppings on the pizza, maybe, if you're doing like hamburger and pepperoni and stuff. But we've seen everything else that goes along with that. Plus, now pepperoni gives you cancer. So, win-win, really. Isn't that great? You get your protein, get your cancer, everything is all good. But just for the most part, you don't need to buy it. And that's one thing that I really want to stress, that we've done really from day one, is that during this year, I don't want it to ever get to a point where it's, okay, well, now you have to go and you have to buy this. You have to buy organic food. You have to spend 3 times as much as you normally would so that you can go and buy milk, you know, that has special protein enzymes in it or whatever it is. The food is going to be a little bit more expensive because we aren't going out to fast food where you can get 2 burgers for $1 anymore. But beyond that, the only real investment that we have is time. And it's been working so far. So, just want to throw that out there as well, because all the protein powders and supplements and everything else that's out there, for what we're trying to accomplish, we do not need it. If, for some reason, I can't imagine I would ever do this. But if at some point in the future I go, you know what, I've lost all the weight, time to start bodybuilding again, it's not going to fucking happen. Then yes, maybe I can learn a little bit more and say, oh, well, then yes, I need a little bit extra protein because it's going to help. But even the muscle building thing where they say, well, you take more protein and then you burn it off, it's going to build bigger muscles. Even that's kind of dodgy. And they do sort of, the Mayo Clinic actually touches on that as well. So I'll put the links down below so that you can go in, you can take a look at them. I don't know when they're actually going to release the documentary, so unfortunately, that might sort of go by the wayside. At some point when they do release it, though, even if it's after the year is done, then I'll throw it into the recommended viewing playlist just so that people can see it. Because I think it's a nice grouping with the Fifth Estate one that we saw as well. Because they did the investigation together, and it's been delayed for another month now. Actually, yeah, it's about a month since they came out with the story. So once they're done their investigation, then when they come back and they release it, then I'll put it up there. So if we're still going with these every day, at that point, if it's if it's still within the year, then yes, I'll throw that in on a Friday or something. But as of right now, I just sort of wanted to get that out there where it's still somewhat fresh in our minds, and it was relevant to what we've been sort of looking at over the past couple of weeks. So you can go up, you can take a look, take a quick read through, and get a little bit more information. I was really surprised at how many claims that, because I've never had to look at it, the claims that protein powders have made. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are really, really stupid. But there's 2 or 3 that they say, yeah, it does work. It'll help if you have allergies to this or this or this. That's one that keeps sticking in my head. And then there's just a long list of other stuff that goes, no, we don't really have any evidence for that. And then a few where they say, no, we know this doesn't work. This is utter bullshit. So you can go up and take a look at those as well as the CBC story and then Mayo Clinic, and then you'll have all the information you need. And at that point, you probably know much more than I do. But for right now, I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.